Hello everyone, it's Mark. I am the Sanderson Collector, and this week is going to be Fanderson week, and I will be talking about how I became a beta reader for Brandon Sanderson, as well as what the beta and gamma reading process entails, and what it means to be a beta and gamma reader. Some quick news items. If you saw my video already, where I announced the winner, John was the winner of the JordanCon anthology that I gave away, so congratulations to John. I got that shipped off on Saturday. It should be on its way to him right now. If you did not win the anthology, you can still read one of the two stories in it. The story called The Traveler is actually available on the 17th Shard website. I have left a link to that in the description so you can go ahead and read it. It's short, only about 2 or 3 pages long, so it's a really quick read to just go ahead and get through. The other story, unfortunately, is not available publicly anywhere. If you are a supporter of the Writing Excuses Patreon on the $10 and up tier, you can read it. It's in the archives, but otherwise, I believe you are currently out of luck. Maybe someday it'll be published in another form. For now, that's the only way to read it. And the other bit of news is, if y'all will remember, my giveaway was for reaching 100 subscribers, and something I only realized today, something a friend alerted me to, is that when you reach 100 subscribers on YouTube, you are eligible to get your own custom URL. So I have gone and claimed the URL, The Sanderson Collector, so you can now reach my channel at youtube.com/c/The Sanderson Collector, which is super cool, and I'm very glad that I was able to get that URL. Thank you for my friend for telling me about that. So, what does it mean to be a beta or gamma reader for Brandon Sanderson? Well, I've had this question numerous times from friends and fans who know I'm a beta and a gamma reader, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a quick rundown of the steps for the gamma and beta reading processes and what kind of things are expected, and then I'm going to talk about how I was selected as a beta and gamma reader for Sanderson. Next month for Fanderson Week, I'm going to talk about my personal experience being a beta and gamma reader and which books I'm in. I was intending to do it as one video, but as these things go, it ended up being a lot when I was outlining this, so it's going to be 2 weeks. So when Brandon writes a novel, he sends it first through his writing group, and then his editor in-house Peter, and then his editor at the publisher at Tor, that's Moshe Feder. And then, once it has gone through revisions from those 3 groups of people, he sends it to a group of fans, usually selected by Peter, called the beta readers, and we get it. It is still a somewhat rough draft of the book. There is not a lot of polish to it. There are still typos lying around everywhere. And we get the book, and we read it, and we give feedback on the plot and characters. So we say, like, this felt out of character for this person to do in this instance, or this felt like a plot hole because, you know, it doesn't make sense that the eagles didn't fly them to Mordor, or anything like that. And so we go ahead and leave all that feedback, and the way it works is we are given a spreadsheet to put the comments in. We read the book, and each chapter as we read it, we go to the spreadsheet and put in a comment where it's part of book, comment about the part of the book, and then our name. And others can come into the spreadsheet as well and reply to the comments or leave their own comments. We put them in order of where they are in the book, and then mark them with what kind of comment it is, whether it's a character comment or a setting comment or a plot comment or any of those other categories. And then at the end of the day, that feedback gets read by Peter, and Peter condenses it down and then gives it to Brandon. Brandon gets the feedback and does his revisions on the book. Another thing that we cover during the beta read is our emotional reaction to the story. And Brandon likes this because it tells him, oh, this part is really working, it's making them sad when I was intending to, or, oh, this part is not working, it's making them happy when I was intending to make them angry. And that allows him to adjust and tweak those little bits to get the emotional reaction that he wants, in addition to making sure the characters and plot are consistent. Something else that's fun to leave comments on is the theories and speculation that we have as we're reading, as well as things that surprise us. And Brandon uses this to tweak the foreshadowing in his books. And the foreshadowing is essentially what he's setting up the plot to be so that when he reaches the finale of the book, it is satisfying and well foreshadowed, meaning that all the pieces are in place for it to make sense for those events to happen. And as we know from popular media lately, that's something very important to set up, and if you do it wrong, you'll have a lot of fans that are angry at you. So Brandon makes very sure that he gets this part right, and this is one of the, in my opinion, best parts of his books, is how everything is set up for that awesome Sanderson avalanche at the end. And as beta readers, we give our feedback by saying, I'm expecting this to happen, I'm not expecting this, I was not ready for this to happen, and he will tweak the book, maybe add a few more hints, or take out hints if something is too obvious in order to make that ending perfect. Once Brandon has revised the book to his satisfaction, he usually goes back to his editor after we've given feedback and he's done it again, and they may do one or two more passes on the book, and then it's done. And he sends it off to the publisher and they typeset it, and it comes back as a PDF with all the formatting that the final book is going to have. Artwork and, chapter icons and stuff may still be placeholders, but they are on the pages they're going to be, and we have a general idea of what the book is going to look like. And then we do the gamma read on it. The gamma read is essentially a proofreading step where we check everything for spelling, grammar, punctuation, all the typos, everything nitpicky and little at that point is what we're looking for. We are not allowed to change or suggest anything that is, larger than a couple of words or a sentence. And at this stage, we make our comments in a document where we quote the sentence exactly and then give our suggested correction. For example, if the sentence is Mark went to the store, we would copy that in here and then say Mark went to the store, or remove extra to, or something that indicates exactly what the typo is and how it's supposed to be fixed, and then put our name next to it. And Brandon himself does not read these comments. This is one of the amazing things that Peter does for him that saves him so much time and allows him to spend all of his time writing and revising more awesome books. Peter will go through and mark the comments, either with a red highlight, meaning this is not the kind of thing I want you to be looking for. Please stop looking for this and do not leave this kind of comment again. A strike through, or a stet, which means, okay, I can see what you're saying, but no, I'm not going to do this. Or he will highlight it in green, which is awesome and always feels amazing. And when he highlights something in green, that means, yeah, I'm accepting your change. This was a typo in the book. We're going to fix it. Now, of course, typos will always make it through this process, and those usually get fixed in later printings, but we all pitch in and do our best to clean up the typos and make the book as awesome as possible during this stage. And then it goes back to the publisher and then gets printed up and we get awesome books. And so that's how the beta and gamma reading process works for Brandon's books. I think the first time that the Sanderson team actually noticed me was back when we had the Firefight release. At the time of the Firefight release, there was a Facebook giveaway and a Twitter giveaway where random people who retweeted the tweet or reposted the post would get a copy of the ARC of the book. And additionally, the people with the top 2, I believe, number of likes on their share of the post on Facebook would get an ARC as well. And I went and asked everyone I knew and used all my connections to get likes on my share of the post, and ended up with the most likes and won that contest to get the ARC. And I had more likes than places number 2 and 3 combined, so I was really dedicated. And at that point, I think they noticed me. Brandon himself friended me on Facebook just to get my info to send the ARC to me, and I was in contact with Peter just a couple times to make sure everything was going all right, figure out when the ARC was coming, and all of that kind of stuff. And I guess that's when he found out who I was, what my name was. And then later on Twitter, a friend of mine, Nikki, and I founded the Sanderson Army Twitter account, which we still run to this day. You can follow us on Twitter at Sanderson Army. And this account started getting some traction, more traction than I ever thought we would actually get. And at some point during the life of the account, Peter followed us, which was totally awesome. And then sometime after that, just out of the blue, we get this message from Peter saying, hey, we've got a beta read coming up for this book called Calamity. Do y'all want to do it? And after we picked our collective jaws up off the floor, the answer was a resounding yes. And so we've been beta readers since then. I will note that this is just our personal experiences, myself and Nikki, with being the people on Twitter who run the fan account. Other people get in through all kinds of different methods. It's about as varied as getting into publishing itself. You know, some people have gotten in through connections or family. Some people get in through knowing awesome things. We had a new beta reader for Skyward who is a fighter pilot and did some reading and consulting on the scenes where they're flying around in the ships, and it was super cool. And he is now also a regular beta reader for us and is a super nice person, and we're glad to have him on the team. So there's a lot of varied ways to get in. The worst way, however, to get in is to ask Brandon or Peter directly, hey, can I be a beta reader? Because they get so many of those requests and it's just noise to them. Be active in the community, do awesome things, you might get noticed. Some of the other beta readers have written posts. There's one that I particularly like that Alice wrote over at Tor.com a couple years ago that I will go ahead and link in the description as well if you want to read more about being a beta reader or being selected as a beta reader. Next month during Fanderson Week, I will go over my personal experience as a beta reader and talk some about the books that I've beta read. I will not be giving any specific notes about what changed or what I saw in the books, but I will talk a bit about the general process and how it feels for me and go over all the books that I'm in and show off my name. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and until next time, happy collecting.